fight this feeling. We feel the ceiling. There's nothing going on. And on and on and on. Don't think it's over. You find the devil in a falling clover. There's nothing going on. And on and on and on. Dressed up heels to the sea, they make a perfume so appealing. And first I thought that you were pitching the...
Yeah.
Good evening and welcome to our next thrilling excitement in franchise wars. And we've decided to revisit Star Wars. I've finally gotten over the prequel trilogy. We're going to talk about the Star Wars original trilogy. So A New Hope, The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. Can we agree which version of the original trilogy we're going to talk about?
The original version, not the
one
I've stuck a load of new things in it just because I can version.
Yeah, well, that's it. I don't want the one that's got Hayden Christensen who ruined Return of the Jedi. Can we not talk of that? And are we just going to talk about the only one that really matters, which is the...
No, I think me and Mark should talk about it just to annoy you.
Well, to be honest with you, I ain't really bothered which one we talk about because obviously I've never made a secret of it. I'm not particularly a fan.
He's only based a career on it. No.
It's only paid for my house.
Yeah. It's only you're only one of those guys who stick your hands behind your back, stick a figure in there, and you'll know which one it is.
It's my claim to fame that I can name vintage figures by touch only.
So, yeah, Star Wars: A New Hope, or to give it its original title, Star Wars. Are we all in agreement? It's just brilliant.
It's fantastic. Of course it is. This is the first time we've actually got three great films to judge.
Yeah.
We've been used to having maybe one good one and a load of bad ones. If you were lucky, one really good one and some half-decent ones. And sometimes, Die Hard, you had a couple of really excellent ones and then some good ones and an okay one.
I'm going to be
and then really, really shit one.
And say that the first movie isn't that great. It just fucking looks amazing. But from a story point of view, it's very basic and very drawn out for the first 40 minutes. For the first more, it's 40. After 3PO and R2 escape and land on Tatooine, yes, Martin, it does get a bit like that for about half an hour, 40 minutes. We've got a little bit of.
It's a slow start.
It's a slow burner.
New burn.
It was just.
I don't have a problem with that. Still, to me, it's just wonderful. But I suppose it's. There are many that are like it, but it was the first of its kind. You know, many of the Japanese hero and samurai stories are like it. Many stories, you know, it's all on the story wheel. It's a very basic principle of storytelling. It's very simple. It's a very simple story, full stop. I mean, George Lucas is hardly known for his exhilarating dialogue.
It's just that opening shot, though, of the Star Destroyer going overhead, chasing after the Rebel transporter, and you just go, "Fuck, this is going to be good." Scary thing is, I mean, Dave wasn't born.
Nope.
I have a vague recollection of my dad taking me to Dudley to go and see it because everybody was going to see it. I can't remember really seeing it properly at the cinema. I got vague flashes. Where I got to see it was the first time it got put on TV in 1980, 81 in the UK. No, 81, 82 in the UK. The same time as E.T. came out, and there was loads of pirate copies going about of it. And then Return of the Jedi came out. So I saw A New Hope a lot. And I'm one of those people who because I was so young and cinema wasn't a thing that we went to very often when we was 7, 8, 9, and 10, is I ended up seeing Return of the Jedi on a pirate copy before I saw Empire Strikes Back. So I watched the originally Star Wars, then Return of the Jedi, then Empire Strikes Back. But
just a bit
I
awkward.
can still remember, right? It was November. It was 1983 in November. My dad came back from his mates who got him the copies of the videos, and he says, "Here, watch this." It was Empire Strikes Back. I put it in. It was like watching it in the snow, so it was great for the Hoth sequence, but the copy was really shit. But I played that tape over and over and over and over again because I just thought it was absolutely amazing. And even though I like the first Star Wars movie, it doesn't resonate like Empire Strikes Back does, because that was my real first real memory of watching something.
Got to be careful though. You're skipping right ahead there at the moment. We could easily jump into Empire straight away.
No, I'm just talking about from my perspective, being introduced to Star Wars, and Dave was introduced to Star Wars because I became a nut job idiot, and we had figures and everything when we was kids. But it was a pain in the arse because I was just at that age where people were coming out of having figures and having Woody Ataris and Coleco Visions and shit. So my brothers had the fucking benefit of having all the figures and the spaceships, and then
you probably played with them all because being the big brother.
and they wasn't that bothered after, and they all got chucked away, and I went and collected them again 15, 20 years later. But that's my introduction to Star Wars. It wasn't A New Hope properly. It was Empire Strikes Back. That was
I'll go with, see, I am old enough there. I remember vaguely as a child holding Mum's hand, queuing outside Quinton Cinema in a massive queue. I remember it stretched all the way to the motorway bridge. And just, I'll remember that.
I mean, the magic of the original movie and the original trilogy is you can put it on anytime, any place, watch it, and never get bored. Never get bored of watching it. I wouldn't say you can find something new every time you watch it because
it's entertaining and it's magical to you every time. It's not one that it's not one that you sort of watch and you're not really bothered about. As soon as it's on and it catches your eye, that's it. You get drawn straight into it again, and you'll sit and you watch it properly.
I mean, we talked about the prequel trilogy, and I was saying that the Phantom Menace was a political thriller more so than a science fiction movie.
Whereas Attack of the Clones is really what you meant.
No, I didn't mean that about the Phantom Menace. But what happens here, and as you get older, you can see it, is those political elements were always there. They just wasn't thrown in your face and slapped in your face. They were subtle enough to not really understand when you was a kid, and then appreciate it as you get older after watching it more times. I mean, it is good. It is great. It's scarily, it is holding up over time as well.
Yep.
Original version or special edition version, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
The special effects are there. It's timeless. It's got a timeless feel about it, and doesn't matter how you look at it. Pre-1977, movies had a certain look and feel, and then after 1977, they were never the same again.
Yeah.
Because Star Wars, like the Beatles, changed the way movies are made forever. The way the Beatles changed the music industry forever, and that you can't take it away from it at all.
I mean, my thoughts on A New Hope is it's exceptional. It really is an exceptional film. As a standalone story, it's nigh on perfect. And what irritates me is that you just when you think, oh, settled in, then they make Empire Strikes Back, and the bastards turn it up to 11. Because I love New Hope and I love Return of the Jedi, but Empire Strikes Back is just that something else. Oh, and just to get in, while we're talking Star Wars, Revenge of the Sith is really shit.
Yes, the point not agreed with by a lot of folks.
Now, I love A New Hope. I think I'm all right with the pace of it. I quite like it. I think you see just enough. You get the Darth Vader reveal nice and early. James Earl Jones doing the voice is a masterstroke. That feel is it's just amazing. Mark Hamill isn't irritating. He's just not irritating enough. Han Solo is a genius cast. Genius. Carrie Fisher is wonderful.
See, I can't believe that you didn't want David Prowse's original accent.
Yeah,
Search your feelings. You know this to be true.
Yeah.
I am your father.
I want those plans, and I want to capture those prisoners. I want them alive. No,
remember, look left, look right, look left again. I am the Green Cross Code Man. No, Darth Vader. That's bugger.
It's a perfect film. It stands alone. It looks wonderful. It's brilliant.
It's wonderful. It's not a perfect film. It's magical and it draws you in and it's brilliant, but it's not a perfect film. There's perfect films I've got, and Star Wars wouldn't be a perfect film. It's wonderful. It's magical. It's something brand new for anyone who watched it at the time. It's something just wonderful that you didn't expect, and just it draws you in like no other movie. But it's not perfect. There are drops in it and all that, but it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. It's a beautiful woman that's more beautiful because there's a couple of little marks or something there. So you don't want to be too perfect, and it's just perfect enough.
I love it. I love A New Hope. And then, what made Empire Strikes Back so much better? Is it because George Lucas was removed from the decision making and the filmmaking bit? Yes. Is it because how many times really have we had a film that's like this where you go, they're not going to end it like, they really are going to end it like that? I mean, Empire Strikes Back just dials it up. Not just the I am your father, spoilers. Not just the I am your father bit. Just so much. It's so dark. It's just wonderful.
It was throwing that. How often in that sort of film had you had that sort of twist suddenly in a mainstream film thrown in? Suddenly that twist comes out of nowhere to a mainstream audience, a sci-fi mainstream audience, and suddenly that twist comes out of nowhere. I am your father. Search your feelings. You know this to be true.
There was always there was a plan, sort of a plan to make so many movies, and the idea was when George Lucas said, "Look, I want to do this film," and the idea is it's a segment of a massive story, and it was like saying it's one episode of a big serial like you used to have Flash Gordon or whatever.
Yeah, so it's very much based on this 5-minute radio serial things.
What he did then with Empire is and Return of the Jedi is the classic 3-act movie trope, but spread over 3 movies instead. So you introduce the characters, put them in a really severe dilemma, and resolve the dilemma. So people aren't used to just seeing everybody put in the bad situation without it being resolved, and you have to wait. And that's the art of this trilogy. And that's why this trilogy works so well, because he nailed that situation. It didn't matter whether they got the sequel or not, because if A New Hope had been left as it was, there was enough of that three stroke in it for it to work, and it was also a big introduction. Empire Strikes Back being that second act is people aren't used to walking away without a resolution, and it was something completely different. It has been done before. It's been done in other films before prior to this, where the bad
but in a mainstream,
but not something so highly prolific at the time that was out there to leave everybody thinking, "Oh shit, what's going to happen next?" And they didn't have to wait until next week, like you're watching a TV serial. You've got to wait 3 fucking years, and that was just a killer.
And this is with kids as an audience.
Yep.
Kids who aren't patient, just fantastic. I mean, I would remember, like, even when we were youngsters and watching it, the rumours were always going around that it was one of 9 films. Sometimes you hear one of 6, sometimes you hear one of 9, you hear 3 before, 3 after. It's just, it's stuff like that really didn't exist. You know, you didn't have those kind of rumours and ideas that how can a film be that big that it's one of 9 sort of thing.
I like
the approach that was Police Academy with 7.
I like the direction of it, the decision to go from the sort of earth tones, quite believable, to, you know, this very harsh, stark, you know, a snow world, and things aren't really, if things are very bleak, then, you know, they sort of get away. And then, you know, off we go to Dagobah and introduce him to a puppet, which should never have worked, and it worked ridiculously well. If it's got the only niggle, it's the Carrie Fisher Mark Hamill kiss. It's the only bit where you go, yeah, that sits uncomfortably.
Yeah, that's why they should do it, just to be really uncomfortable for the rest of time, and always make sure that, what was it? How many of Disney's major, how many of Disney? Yeah, it is now Disney. How many of Disney's major own films now contain incest? I'm sure it's a few of them.
But other than that rankles with me. I really struggle to find any fault with it. I think it paced perfectly, an amazing ending, unbelievable villains. Oh, sorry, Boba Fett. Boba Fett is the biggest letdown.
No. Boba Fett's the equivalent of Steve McQueen. Boba Fett's the silent guy who just looks kind of cool, doesn't do very much, and everyone thinks he's the coolest guy ever, full stop, and just wants to be there because they don't know too much about him as to spoil the character.
Sorry. It was a massive missed opportunity. Oh, let's introduce this cool-looking character, and then he dies so quickly in Return of the Jedi. What are you doing, Mark?
Bad lip reading.
I just worked out what you're doing. You know, it's perfect, isn't it? Shut up, Mark. Right, I'm going to mute him. We've muted Mark, who's entertaining himself watching bad lip reading.
With any of them, all 3 of them are actually kind of wonderful. Even with the teddy bears in Return of the Jedi, you know, it's just, they're all great. They brought in those like the sled speeder things that race through the woods. They're fantastic. Just some corking stuff.
I love it. And then for me, it goes sort of a 9 or a 10 for Star Wars. I just look at A New Hope. It goes up to 11 for Empire Strikes Back. And I love Return of the Jedi. You know the scene where
there are a number of people.
The spaceship fighting scene is, you know, it's right up there with just brilliant. So not so much the fight on Endor's not great. It's a bit obvious, and the Ewoks are a bit shit.
I actually love the intro. I actually love the intro stuff of it, where Leia's playing as like the bounty hunter to go rescue Han.
Jabba's palace scene. That act is pretty good.
The thing you've got there is initially the 6th film was going to be when they was going to do the 6, 7, 8, 9 originally. The 6th film was going to be the rescue of Han Solo, but they compacted that down to the first 40 minutes of Return of the Jedi. We would have had an entire movie about the rescue of Han Solo.
See, I could have lived with that quite happily.
And then it would have been the introduction of Luke's twin sister, who wasn't Leia, in the next one, and then it would have led up to the battle between Luke and the Emperor and Vader. But it all got condensed and crammed into that last movie.
Crammed in you will be.
And you can tell because they do try and rush everything in that last 45 minutes of what's going on. It's not.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it?
I've got no problem with it. It's wonderful.
The
It's
greatest
great.
hit. Star Wars.
It's great. It's an emperor that I don't want to stab in the face. Oh, when Ian McDiarmid didn't phone it in, and he actually probably believed what he was saying, even though it was nonsense. It was great. And
I am the greatest emperor of all.
that lightsaber fight, and remove the no, the version before that pile of nonsense. The space fight with Lando leading the Falcon on the assault on the Death Star is incredible. Considering it was done in 1983, it looks unbelievable. It's just amazing. It's better than the space fight in Rise of Skywalker, and I loved it in that. It's unbelievable. That I love that space fight. That where there's too many of them. Near numb. It's incredible. That.
See, I've got it. What's just suddenly played on my mind. I'd love to see someone do a deep fake of putting Donald Trump as the emperor.
I love Return of the Jedi. This is a really difficult franchise war because these are three films that I love. They just got these so right.
Your grades of A. Is it A plus? Is it A? Is it A minus? It might be a B plus, but no, it's all in A.
It's like when we did Back to the Future, Mart, and we were going right. This is really difficult because we love all of these, and we just put them in an order because we liked one more than others.
Well, one's always going to win. It's once again, it's shades of A. Number one is the A plus. It's their personal preference on 2 and 3.
What I like most about Return of the Jedi is the character development is so strong. You've
got to sell a hell of a lot of figures.
Yeah, and it was great. And then the last 17 came out, and it was fucking wonderful because kids got bored with figures, and I wish I'd just put them all with boxes. I'd have saved with Dave. It'd be fucking wonderful. I'd have a bigger house. It'd have been great. But
I've got to mention one of my favourites. All right, was the Princess Leia as the bounty. What the hell's that bounty hunter called?
Bush.
There you go. Bosch, as I referred to him as a child.
Bush.
Bosch. And his mate's Black and Decker. Nice. But that figure with like the little removable helmet and stuff, and the staff gun, fantastic. That was like one of my little favourite figures. That was.
I just love the way it ties up all the loose ends. There's nothing left open. It's a perfect ending. It screams you want him more, and you have to wait a long time to get a proper sequel to it.
If only they had a plan in place and just get some stuff like done a lot sooner. It would have been nice to have actually had some of the stars of Star Wars appearing properly in Star Wars.
But I think we're going to disagree on this ranking, even though it's...
of course we are. You're going to be awkward for the sake of it.
Oh, no.
Dave's probably going to like Return of the Jedi more than me. That's it. I can see a variation 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, 1, 3, 2. There's going to be variations all over the shop.
Well, for me, I'll start it off then, right? Do you want me to start it off? How much time we got?
The
biggest problem with
we seem to be kicking into that pretty damn quickly.
Oh, we are. Okay, I'll shut then. It's just, what can we slag off, though? See, the trouble is, with other franchise wars, I can fucking rip things to pieces. Not only as...
You're not going to have a go about the teddy bears then?
I haven't got a problem with Ewoks. I thought they were a great idea. Nothing wrong with that. At the time,
you've sold a lot. Really, I mean, you're tainted because normally what you'd have them for at this point in time, you've made all your money off selling the figures back to property. I mean, that has, as you say, bought your house, paid your mortgage, everything for a lot of years. You injected a perfectly good career as a fucking solicitor to go sell bits of plastic tat. Now that's ballsy as fuck.
It is.
My goddamn hero right there.
But it's like Dave will know this. If it wasn't for these films, I wouldn't be like I am. I'm a total
a bastard.
Total 1% nerdy geek, and I can't break away from it. And it's because of these films that purely the reason, nothing else. And so it's hard for me to spend a good 3 or 4 minute rant ripping things to pieces when I can't really rip them to pieces. It's hard to find things.
It's more niggles, isn't it?
I'd have loved to have had an extended Lando story, a real Lando story. Lando's one of the most screwed over characters probably in Star Wars lore, really.
Yeah, I get.
You
Lando and Boba Fett.
Story. It's an interesting guy. This is why tomorrow I wish that they'd had a Lando solo film rather than a Han Solo film.
Yeah.
A Lando movie would have made much more sense. There's a lot of story to tell about it. He's still an interesting character who was really underserved in the movies. Han Solo was served really flaming well, and the mystery is part of his wonderful charm. As soon as you try and remove the mystery, what your people? Who are your people? I don't have any people. Solo. Oh, Jesus Christ, no, don't screw with it all there. If they'd have leave the mysterious. But with Lando Calrissian, they had an opportunity to give flesh and bone to a story and to a character and really pay a bit of homage there. I think it would have been a great move to go for.
But again, I've got no issue with Lando in the 2 sequels. He's a supporting cast. Plays pivotal points. You can't really go too much any further into it when you've already got the Skywalker story going on, because that's.
But he hardly gets served character-wise, story-wise, everything. You know, he plays some nice points and he's a great character. But this is why I think a film afterwards would just be an opportunity to put more in there, because there's so much of his story that's just left out. He's just an interesting character who's suddenly really tight with the squad.
But then they didn't make him interesting in Solo, did they? They sort of.
But that's the same with any movie that you watch, Martin. You've got your main cast and you've got your supporting cast, and you can always argue that the supporting cast didn't get enough story, but there's only so much you can fit into 2 hours.
See, I feel the same. I feel the same with Boba Fett. I feel the same with Boba Fett. He was brought up. That guy looks cool. He's going to be awesome. And then we saw even more of him in that cartoon and the holiday special. Can you imagine being in about? Oh my God, this is going to be awesome. Here we go.
And then they kill him, Dave.
And then they kill him.
Do you want me to tell you a little secret? Are you sitting comfortably? Really, honestly, right? I'll tell you a secret about Boba Fett. He was introduced to sell fucking figures because they'd got nothing left to fucking make. So in 1978, when we still hadn't got anything coming out for another 2 years, they needed to create a bit of buzz over a character. So they created Boba Fett. He was put in the holiday special. And they churned out loads of these fucking figures. And it all went fucking wrong because they couldn't do the rocking firing backpack anyway.
Yeah,
it was all about hype. That's all Boba Fett is about, his hype. It's like all of the characters in the end. It was a money-making machine to some fucking fat redneck chubby George Lucas bastard. And I hate the motherfucker because he spoilt my fucking life, ruined it in tatters. I've got nothing to answer for because of fucking Star Wars.
He ruined my life. Right. We need to rank this, and this is.
Bear in mind, I know you in real life. Your life was ruined way before Star Wars.
Come on then, Mark.
You self-sabotage, whatever.
Kick us off. What Empire Strikes Back first, then what?
Well, Empire Strikes Back definitely first. It comes a close second for me for the best movie ever made, just behind Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Again, probably because of the tone of the movie. They're very, very similar in tone.
You seem to have forgotten Jaws.
No. Anyway.
God damn it, we have got a fight on the go sometime.
Empire Strikes Back is clearly number one. The tone, the way it's put together, the direction, leaving everybody in a sense of dread, continually chasing the back foot because they can't get out of this situation, just works.
And your boy Han's frozen in carbonite in this one.
Yep. Then Return of the Jedi. A lot of people might argue differently. It's very close between Return of the Jedi and New Hope, but it's because there's character development and it's a carry-on, more of a carry-on of the story. So I enjoy watching Empire and Return of the Jedi together.
So hold on, your argument is that Jedi's better than Star Wars in New Hope because it has character development, whereas A New Hope's actually introducing those characters in the first place, developing them from fuck all to something, you know.
Right, okay. Like I said, and I've said there's nothing wrong with A New Hope. I don't hate it, but I prefer it to sit and watch Return of the Jedi before I want to sit and watch A New Hope. I enjoy it more. There's more going on visually. It's great, and I love the feel of it. But it's like I also said to you before, Return of the Jedi was the first proper movie I saw of Star Wars, because I don't remember watching the original Star Wars until
I
later.
can get it.
Then I watched Return of the Jedi. Then I watched
you.
Empire Strikes Back, and then it sort of taught me what it was all about. And watching A New Hope was like watching a prequel to me, so it introduced the character. So I'm biased, but that's for me. It's Empire.
Yeah,
Jedi,
you picked that for the same reason a lot of like young kids had picked, say, Phantom Menace or Return of the Sith or whatever. And that's Revenge of the Jedi. They picked or one of the new ones, because that's been their Star Wars film, the one that they kicked off on. And yet it's an emotional attachment to anybody, so I can see why you'd gone for it then. That was your entry, your gateway drug in there. You always just have a special place for you.
And these millennials, as they are called, who would go for things like Revenge of the Sith, are wrong, and they are to blame for COVID. So screw them. So yeah, twats. Right, Martin, go on then. What's your rating?
Empire, obviously, straight away. Then New Hope. Then Jedi last. And I did watch them in that order from being a very small child. Taking on the rare occasion you got to the cinema and it was gone to Quinton, and that was it. Went to Quinton and queuing outside massively. Jamie Hemming got the best story about this. He wanted to go see the Spider-Man TV show, like movie. I went to see that as well because I bugged the shit out of my parents to watch it because it was Marvel and you got so little chance at Marvel.
Yeah.
Now I've watched it back. I've owned it on VHS and everything, and it's terrible. And I'm really sorry, Mum and Dad. I'm really sorry, Mum and Dad. I'm really sorry. Okay. I'm just at least we did queue up massively the one night and went to see Star Wars: A New Hope, which was fantastic. But that was it. Fantastic, lovely. Yeah, I'll go Empire, New Hope, Jedi, and that's it for me. You know, that's Empire. You can't argue. Empire's number one. It's just, as Mark said, one of the best movies ever made. It'll probably be in most people's top 10 list. New Hope then is for me the introduction to it all, and it's not my favourite Star Wars film, but it's bloody wonderful, and it gets the second place nod for me. And then Return of the Jedi as last there. I mean, they're still probably your top 3 Star Wars movies, full stop.
Right, I'll make this really easy. I agree wholeheartedly with Mark. Empire is fantastic. Jedi is just edges it for me because it just finishes it. It wraps it all up in a wonderful, neat little box. We kill the Emperor. And yeah,
but it doesn't have a really slow lightsaber fight between an old man and a guy in black.
And Princess Leia, you know, Carrie Fisher in her Jabba's palace gear. Happy days. Jedi is brilliant.
Yeah, but can I, if you're going to go that, can I also always say, when we went in the 90s to go see the redoing of it on the big screen, and suddenly Princess Leia and Luke Skywalker swing across in the Death Star, and she's wearing that white gown, and suddenly you see something that you didn't see as a small child, and that's Princess Leia's rock-hard nipples. And Jesus Christ, she's got a rack and a half on her. Cool, blimey, love. Oh, God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bless her.
You know, that.
Bless her and all who sailed in her. Yeah,
well,
it's Empire, Jedi, and then New Hope. And I love New Hope. I love all 3 films.
You're wrong.
Sorry, mate. Jedi is fantastic, and I get why you would like A New Hope. And you know, you're talking. You know, it's like trying to choose your favourite child. You know, you know?
Like I said, it's who actually watches any of the original trilogy separately. It's a whole, and if you look at it as a whole, it's how you watch and enjoy something anyway. You enjoy the beginning. You can't fucking believe what's happening in the middle of the film, and then at the end, it's all fucking great and everything works out fine. And that's what the trilogy is. So it is that little up, whoa, yeah, down a little bit. It's natural, but it's watched as a whole. I don't know anybody who watches the original trilogy separately.
Without Empire, you wouldn't have got Avengers: Infinity War, which is basically how you felt at the end of Infinity War. How you felt after Empire.
Empire is pretty much every film trilogy's second movie. That's what they all want. Everyone just, we're going to do an Empire on this. We're going to do an Empire Strikes Back. We're going to make it dark. We're going to make it desperate. It's the World War II of movies. Starts off good for the Germans. starts off good. Then it goes bad. Then it goes good again for the Allies. Yes, we won! Yay!
In fact, yeah, this is the same with Pirates of the Caribbean. That second movie goes all Empire Strikes Back at the end.
Yeah,
it leaves everybody all in a shit position. And
everyone's aiming for that second movie to be. It's the
Matrix.
Matrix
did it last week. Trilogy. Matrix did it last week. Yep. I mean, there are quite a few.
Matrix tried to copy Return of the Jedi at the end, but
well, you said about that beat for beat.
Beat for beat, it's scary.
So yeah, it's shades, isn't it? You know, it's a very easy franchise war. Empire wins it.
We really enjoy them all. All that we disagree with is the positioning of them at the end. But two of you agree, so that's it. It's 2, 3, 1.
In fourth place is the holiday special.
In fourth place is the holiday special, which is still better than Star Wars: Revenge of the Sith. I'd rather watch a 3-armed alien sing stir, stir, quick, stir. Do stir, stir, quick, stir, than have to watch Hayden Christensen tell me why he doesn't like sand. So,
well, it's coarse and grainy and it gets everywhere.
Isn't it ridiculous how something so wonderful can become so tainted so easily?
The fandom.
No, just the movies itself. Like Dave just hates Revenge of the Sith so much.
Well, I think what we do, because we've wrapped up the ranking, we just need to talk about now. I would like us to delve into a little bit of the, for sort of 5-10 minutes, talk about what Lucas did with revisiting these films and whether we think it was a good idea. So,
in terms of CGI,
yeah. So,
whatever floated his boat, I've got to admit, I just enjoyed seeing him on the big screen again. That was fantastic. And it was another set of film at a time when things weren't insane in like different versions of stuff. I owned all the fucking different versions of these of those 3 films.
We've got a minute left.
It's having to do the prequels and then the sequels. And suddenly, that's too many films to have to just keep going buying a new box set every time.
So, we were talking about the original trilogy, and we've all agreed we love all of them. And Martin, even you haven't really fought us off when we said 2, 3, 1.
Honestly, as I say, it's shades of A. You know, you're talking A+ to A to A-. You can't really argue that much about any result. I mean, okay, it's always going to be Empire as number 1. Anybody who's got eyes and ears and things like that will, watch Empire and think, well, that's just one of the best movies ever, goddamn it. And even though it's not, it's the middle of a fucking story, which is really unusual to have as a great movie. Normally, it's a beginning or end of a story, not the middle.
Well, now we need to think about. So we watched that trilogy, and then it got revisited, or as I call it, ruined, because George Lucas decided to throw a load of CGI at it. He put Hayden Christensen in, which makes no sense. Why didn't they reshoot Mark Hamill going, who the fuck's that?
Can I just stop you there?
Hang on, no. Greedo shot first. Greedo shot first.
Hayden Christian in though.
That was ridiculous.
They did not put Hayden Christian into it until 2005.
Right.
When the special editions came out, it was 1997.
Yeah, I know.
It was the 20th anniversary. They didn't put Hayden Christian into it until it came out on Blu-ray in 2005.
Yeah.
So you can't keep saying putting Hayden Christian. We're talking about the 1997 release.
Oh, so hang on. Hang on. So we're going to do it in 3 stages, right?
Yeah,
so
you can if you want.
Okay.
Right, the
so,
1997.
Special editions. Okay. Special editions.
1997 special editions, right, was fundamentally a stroke of fucking genius. It was the best thing that they could have actually ever have done with the way the world was working at the time, because what it did was take plastic figures and bring them back fucking twofold. I was buying and selling figures on the black market like fucking cocaine from 1998 to about 2006, right? I could get figures, get them out of the boxes, right? Turn Luke Skywalker upside down with his one hand stuck to the ground and say it was a prototype Luke at the Dagobah scene and sell it for 20 quid. I got a
Chewbacca with your own hair on
I
it.
had my hair cut, I kept it, I put Chewbacca in glue and then dipped him in my hair, and I was selling Chewbaccas with real hair. I was
prototype.
I was taking
didn't you make a George Lucas and he sort of looked like our dad?
I made a George Lucas, I made a George Palmer. I also got a razor blade to about 20 stormtroopers and trimmed off the date off the back of the legs and then put on each of them L1, L2, L3, through to 20. I showed them Dave and he says, "What the fuck are you doing?" I said, "What's this?" I put them on eBay and one went for £106. The others all went for at least £30 or £40 each. I bought those figures in at £3 each, uncarded the motherfuckers. George Lucas is a fucking god. There is no way you can tell me that the special editions was a stupid fucking idea, right? You fuck off. What is a stupid idea is not wearing a mask when you go shopping. George Lucas bringing the special edition fucking trilogy out was like the heavens opening up. It was real. I opened the door of a morning from 1998 through to 2006. Angels would be singing. Rainbows would be floating around. Fucking unicorns would be flying from the sky. And money would just be flying into my bank account. I'd got a normal job and I was making more money on the side selling selling Star Wars shit to people like Ant, right? Ant is not here now. That is how Ant became my friend, because I sold him fucking Star Wars figures. And he kept coming to my house, giving me money for plastic and walking away. And 20 years later, he's still fucking hanging on like a bad smell. The stupid man had me as his best man at his wedding, and I made about $5,000 off the stupid motherfucker. And he had me as his best man at his wedding. Do not tell me that the special edition of Star Wars was a bad fucking idea. It was fucking brilliant. I don't care what you say.
I'll tell you what was the best thing about it. I went to see that with Chris out the band as well, with my cousin Steve and Chris, with our mate Oliver, I think with Tom as well, Tommy Vegas back in the day. We were pissed as farts watching Star Wars again. It was fucking brilliant. It was fantastic. I got so stoned watching that. It was ridiculous. Came out and I didn't even know that I'd driven up there that night. Never mind where the hell the car was. We had to wait quite a while before we were driving back home.
But let's be honest, right? The Star Wars specialists, apart from my little rant, when they brought them back out in 1997, 3 months apart for the 20th anniversary, we didn't fucking care what little bit of special effects was in there. It was a fact that when we was fucking 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, we didn't go and see them at the cinema. Now we could again.
Yeah.
And it was
all
fucking
right.
great.
Okay.
It was
so
great.
All right.
I mean, the bits they've put in was a bit silly, getting rid of the Ewok song and putting that fucking celebration and everything.
But it was just to appreciate it on the big screen when you were older.
That's right. That first round, of special editions, I haven't got an issue with.
All right. Okay. I take it back. I take it back. Right. I am talking about the refinements for refinement's sake. The Greedo shot first. The removal of the Ewok celebration song. Hayden Christensen being inserted. CGI for CGI's sake. The Jabba scene, which was a human, then obviously got replaced, which wasn't great. And then just, yeah.
It does look better now. And that's the one saving grace of the Blu-ray last cleanup that he did, is the Jabba scene does look okay now. For 3 goes at it previously, that wasn't great at all. But it didn't matter because that was a test template to make the prequel trilogy. So it didn't matter what it looked like. It didn't matter. Nobody cares. But it's a fucking mess. They look a fucking mess now. It's stupid. Having Hayden Christian in it, having Naboo at the end, the Jedi, having having the Ewoks blinking, having R2D2 doing different whistles, having Alec Guinness now roaring like the fucking thing out of Revenge of the Sith that Obi-Wan rides on it, and it sounded like a fucking Tusken Raider Bantha fucking Bantha beast. I could pull it to pieces, but again, I can't complain because it continued me being able to sell things. and then
you come out with a film or a figure for him, he's happy.
I mean, I had the special editions come out, I could sell figures. Then the prequel trilogy come out, I could wipe my arse on £20 notes. Then the Blu-ray special editions came out, I could wipe my arse on £20 notes again because they re-released everything again as the Saga collection. And then there was a bit of a quiet spell, and then what's happened is the kids now don't buy action figures in the same way. But I've got no complaints. I've been there. I've been my Scarface. I've got no problems. I'm fine.
And you could still carry on wiping your arse on £20 notes because they're washable.
Fucking hell, they cut your arse to razors now. Have you seen them?
Plastic being more like, that old, the old school toilet paper that was little sheets of greaseproof paper and just smear it around.
So are we saying the definitive one really should have been the 97 special editions when he just about got it right and tidied it up? And
I don't know whether that's a definitive. That was the best of anything that he did with extras on.
It was what it was.
The original.
It was a special edition to put them back in the cinemas, and that's all it was. It was nothing more than that. The little bit of CGI was a test case ready for the prequels. They've been butchered since, which is shameful. But I like the original trilogy of the original ones. The special editions make no difference. I'm okay with those two. But the mess that is the Blu-ray editions now, I can't be arsed with. That they are a mess. The special editions were just testing a little bit of thing and then getting us back in the cinema again. I've got no issue with that 97 run. I've got a lot of issue with the 2005 onwards. Fucking joke.
See, I've got pretty much. I can watch any version of the original trilogy. Once again, as I say, from A+ to A-, there's varying degrees of enjoyment of it. But there's never a version you can put on that I won't just sit back and enjoy, whether it's got a couple of moments of weird CGI where things look suddenly so much better than everything else around it. I don't mind that. The film is still just fantastic to me.
I will say, though, that 2005 Blu-ray release, it did have another upsurge of figures, and I could sell more stuff, and that's great. And the great thing about that box set is turning Yoda in the Phantom Menace into the same CGI character is he in Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, because that puppet is shit in Phantom Menace. That first puppet version of Yoda, and that is awful. And that is the only saving grace from that 2005 box set. I know we're talking original trilogy, but that is the only saving grace from that entire experiment, really.
Yeah. No, I agree. That for me does make. I mean, well, I think it's because you had the puppet in Phantom Menace, and then you had CGI in Attack of the Clowns. Then really, what they should have done is just kept with the puppet. But because they didn't, you sort of thought, well, they may as well CGI it, so it did make sense.
But the only problem is that puppet didn't look like Yoda, and I've sold a shitload of Yodas in my time. But the one
you can identify a Yoda by touch.
The one Yoda that you can't sell very well is the Episode 1 Yoda. That's for two reasons. There is how many people are there on the planet at the minute?
7 billion.
They probably made about 8 billion of the fucking Yodas, so you fucking struggle to sell them anyway.
Yeah.
But people don't like it, so people won't buy it, so it's not retained any value. It's fucking awful.
I was going to say, at the end of the day, they're bits of plastic. The value that's attributed to them is given to them by us, the people who actually enjoy it. And if you don't enjoy it that much, it gets less value attributed to it.
And I'll tell you what, here's a controversial thing then. If we were going on the Blu-ray, the special edition Blu-ray release, my order changes because I actually think they ruin Return of the Jedi. So
Yes.
it actually takes the sheen off Return of the Jedi with the celebration and the song.
Yeah, hang on a second. There is one thing that did upset me with the 97 special edition release and continues to upset me with the 2005. It's the fucking Jabba's Palace fucking musical number.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was.
Why did they change that?
That I hated that. I still do hate it. That makes me vomit. And you're right. It does change the order. It brings Jedi down a peg.
Yep, it does. It genuinely does. The celebration, the love, that being got rid of and going to that stupid thing, Naboo, Hayden Christensen. I genuinely, if I worked in ILM, I would have just put a sort of astonished, who's that look on Mark Hamill's face. Somebody must have done that somewhere going, who? When he looks at Hayden Christensen. And so the order changes, and I really mean that. I would go 2-1-3 with the Blu-ray release, and then I agree with Martin. That's how bad. That's what they did to Return of the Jedi.
You two have been quite, strong on the Jedi next up. So yeah, that's quite a bit of editing, really, just to make that to swing it for you.
I've got to say something else here. The 97 special edition of A New Hope is better than the original one from a visual perspective, especially the X-Wings attacking the Death Star. It looks fucking great.
It's amazing. They really cleaned it up. Because if you remember, when we could still see the black squares, whereas on the 97 one, it did. Genuinely, if we go in first watch, I would have gone 2-3-1. If we go Blu-ray release, it goes 2-1-3. That's how bad a job Lucas did on Return of the Jedi. And we all know what he did. It was his warm-up act with tinkering with these, going, you know what? People are going to buy figures or make money out of buying figures, and people are going to buy any old stuff. So I'm going to write and direct the next 3 films. And then he subjected us to episodes 1, 2, and 3. 3 being one of the worst things ever put to print.
But there are some people who like it.
Well, also, looking at it, the special edition of Empire Strikes Back doesn't hurt it.
No, it's the one film that gets away with it. It gets away with it.
The one per scene, there's no problem with that being improved. Nope. Bespin doesn't look so claustrophobic. It looks more open through the windows. Everything going on. It's not tainted by it.
Nope.
Jedi is tainted greatly.
Yep. So we have a change in order if we go to those. But let's be honest, we love the Star Wars films. They're ace, albeit how they made you feel.
You can rate this trilogy from any 1 to 3, really. You know, it's just they're all great. You're not going to hit the bad one.
You know, it's we've rated these on how they made us feel, how they made us, you know, how they entertained us, or in Mark's case, how they paid for his house. So, and I think that's quite a nice way to finish it off. We will in the future visit the rather controversial, wonderful Force Awakens, in my opinion, the very controversial Last Jedi, and Rise of Skywalker. But that's for another time. Thank you to Munt, who seemed to turn the original trilogy into an advert for Toy Nostalgia Man's closing down sale.
Honestly, buy from him. He's had everything.
Mark, can you tell us how many of your wonderful bowling arm Obi-Wans you have left?
I have put them. I did say I was gonna put them on the washing line or tie them to rockets on bonfire night, but I caught out myself. I put them into job lots and I'm flogging them. So
I've got to admit, I've looked at them thinking, I'd want that one. I'd want that one. I'd want that one. I've never had C-3PO and R2-D2. I looked at the Doctors. I thought a K9 would be good. Oh, you didn't look at things and just, oh, what's he got? Oh, look at all those. They look so for
I'm going to show you something in a minute. What
I've never had a Darth Vader. I'll get the Darth Vader. Oh.
I've been working on more stuff today, Mark. Dave, can you share the screen on in a minute when you stop recording? I want to show Dave. I'll show him something.
Yeah. So, Woody, thank you for that. We've rated it, and we'll see you next time on Franchise Wars. We're going to go and buy some loose action figures. See you later.